Just a short one, this, an intro, and put some context to the chat I had with Carl. So I rocked up, didn't know him from Adam. We spoke a couple of times on the phone. Really likeable lad, really chatty. We got on well straight away. He tells his story in detail. We're going to go back and we're going to finish it. But once we'd stopped filming, I actually said to him on the mental health front, have you ever had a diagnosis? He says, yeah, at 29 years old, paranoid, schizophrenic. And boom, there you go. Yeah, his story made sense to me then. I'm just going to leave it there. There's going to be a part 2. Let me know in the comments whether you would like me to put the longer content up Friday evenings at the weekend or Sunday evenings. Enjoy. I'll see you. How do?
What's happening, pal?
How do? What's happening, pal? What's happening, pal?
Yeah.
Were you a Cockney then?
Cockney, yeah, East London boy, yeah.
A proper Cockney?
Well, I was born in Bow, which makes you a proper Cockney.
Yeah, born in the sound of Bow Bells.
Within the sounds of the Bow Bells, yeah.
Right, so a little bit of background about Carl. He's got in touch, rocked up, never met him before. He's obviously filling my car up, big lad, trained all his life. As a youngster, boxer. IPP prisoner. So just tell me, we're going to go back a bit. We're just going to tell you where we are now. You got locked up at 18.
18, yeah.
You got a 3-year...
3.5 year.
3.5 year IPP sentence.
With the remand off.
Yeah, so what year was that you got locked up?
I got nicked on the 28th of October, 2005.
2005, we're now in...
I've done 2 days in the prisons, hospital, police station, and straight to Chelmsford.
Okay, and when did you get out of the system?
October 2022.
Just?
Yeah.
How long did you serve in hospital and prison altogether then?
Just under 17 years.
Just under 17 years, there you go. Right, we'll go back now then, Carl. As a youngster,
yeah,
leading up to you going to prison, first time at 15, you know, tell me what were happening in your life, how that come about.
What, between 15 and 18?
Or before, just how you sort of fell into it or whatever. What it's like living in London.
I was born in Bow, which is it's between like Stratford and Hackney, I'd say. So you get all different areas all mixing together. You've got the old school there, and then you've got the new school.
Explain what old school is.
Well, you've got the old school EastEnders and that, you know, like the Jelly Hill sort and that, like the proper old school Cockneys, like.
Right, okay.
And then you've got, like, you know, different people from backgrounds, like Caribbean backgrounds and Asian and whatever, that have moved in and been there for a number of years.
Yeah. Quite settled communities.
Bow was quite settled, yeah. Bow wasn't really as bad as people think it is, like, compared to other parts of East London, you know what I mean? But, yeah, it still had its moments and that, you know what I mean?
Was there a lot of gang culture then?
Growing up as a youngster, like, it wasn't really a major thing in Bow, to be fair, no. No, not really, no. But you had crime around there. You'd have gangs, but it wasn't like today's standards, you know what I mean? Nowhere near, way off.
You know, stepping wrong area now, you're getting stabbed, aren't you?
Yeah, easily, yeah. You're getting stabbed by like 5 or 6 people, all with big knives on them, innit?
So talk about your boxing. When did you start boxing?
When I was about 11.
Was that a good thing?
Yeah. I've done it for about 4 years, just under 4 years I've done it. I boxed for a few gyms, West Ham, Newham, Peacock. Had a few bats, had 12 bats, won 7. Never got stopped, never stopped anybody. Reasonable record.
Was that as an amateur?
As an amateur, yeah. Yeah, done the boxing, learnt loads of discipline from it. Got trained by some of the best trainers in the country that are now dead and that.
Yeah.
Learnt lessons in the sparring and the you know, the track work and that. And
did it give you some discipline?
Yeah, definitely, yeah, like that.
So that was 11 to 15. 15 is when you started. What happened?
Well,
how did you go off the rails? How did you end up in prison?
Well, to be fair, I met other people that were like-minded like me, and started off like antisocial stuff, like, you know, like fucking bullying and robbing and fighting and whatever. And then as I got older, I sort of grew out of that behaviour and started nicking cars, and I was like into TDAs and that, like fucking nicking motors and joyriding them and flying, just driving about all night.
Is some of that peer pressure?
Could be, I suppose.
Well, I've already told you, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to mention the rugby word. Some people get
Yeah.
upset about
Yeah.
that, but I've told you it saved me. You know, I just used to live for me Saturdays. That were my focus, and it took me away from good friends who were involved in criminal activity.
Yeah. Well, the boxing got me away from it, but I was on and off with the boxing. I had a number of
Are you all right there, mate?
Sorry, mate, I dropped my blower. Let me just get out. Yeah, well, I was fighting with the lads, like well-known people that have like been in the news recently, always having punch-ups with. We hated each other.
Yeah.
Me and this lad. And
could you handle yourself?
Could I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have a good go, mate. Yeah. I was a decent fighter. The only people that used to beat me in street fights as a kid, as either older than me or they was fucking massive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you were lightweight. You weren't as big as you are now.
No, I wasn't as big as I am now. I still had a decent frame on me, but I wasn't a very large man. You know, like a kid.
Yeah.
So I'd only lose to the big cunts, like the big massive ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because they'd have like rugby skills, not rugby, like wrestling or whatever. They'd wrestle me But yeah, I was a game lad.
So
first got nicked when I was about 11, 12. I got nicked.
Okay, what was that for?
I was in Stratford with a little gang of us, and basically I robbed the lad for his Game Boy, and then got nicked for that. Got a caution for that. Started school, Cumberland. I went in East London, and done well in the classes. Good student and that. But when it was like the lunch break or whatever, I got in with the wrong sort of people, showing off, getting into fights. In the end, I stopped going to school, and I was always fighting people in school and then like basically robbing them for their like dinner money and whatever. And in the end, the school, basically they done a report on me, like an investigation. It was like a report, and it just like outline all what I've been doing in the system and that.
I'll just stop that a little bit. It's going to get warm in here.
Yeah.
I don't, mate.
So basically,
did you get expelled then?
I got taken off the roll. Yeah. I got took off roll, and then bumped into a good friend of mine one day, and then we went out on a little spree for the day, starting fights with people. I had a big what's it called, pickaxe handle that was my uncle's in the house, rolling around with that, thinking I'm the bollocks and that, like with my mate, just getting into fights, just taking all sorts of liberties, and then got nicked.
Do you think it was just bad behaviour that, or do you think maybe something was happening?
I was just a little nutter, mate. I don't even know. I couldn't really describe it as any other way.
Did you have family? Were they concerned? Did they try and bring you in line?
Well, I was living with my nan, because I moved to my mum's, from my mum's to my nan when I was about 12, 11.
Yeah.
And my nan couldn't really control me, to be fair. And she was just embarrassed because of all the shit I was doing in the area and that.
Yeah.
But I'd go out there fighting and whatever, and then chinning, like getting stopped by police and then fighting with them and getting nicked. And I was always getting nicked, and then...
So did the coppers all knew you were in your area? You were well known by everybody.
Yeah, all the old people knew me. Yeah, they had me on they had me under like warnings and all that, like fucking watching. He's violent. He's known to assault police officers, and so they'd always treat me in a certain way. And then and when I was about 14, 15, I started nicking motors and joyriding them around all night, getting police chases, and sometimes we'd get away, sometimes they'd catch us. And back then, when you got nicked by the old bill for taking a police chase, they give you a beating.
Did they?
Yeah, they'd give it to you.
Beating, cautioning on your way.
Not bad damage, like you just get weighed in basically. You get kneed and punched from everywhere, and then like.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's part of the parcel comes with it, didn't
it? Would you rather that than be going to prison?
Well, you got both, to be fair. You just got took to the station. They bailed me. I remember I got nicked about 4 times in 1 week for nicking motors, and they bailed me every time. And I wasn't really a driver at them times because I didn't learn until I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
And we'd take mad police chases. Like we took some crazy ones, like fucking. When I think about it now, the ones that we did get away from, it wasn't down to skill. It's just because they were just so dangerous. Do you know what I mean? You were in a car that
you were driving dangerous, so they just backed off.
Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time. It's only years later I realised, they was backing off.
Explain the buzz of that, because I've talked to people before who just can't stop nicking cars.
Yeah.
And they say, prison don't put you off. It's the thrill. It don't go away. It's...
Well, back then you could nick a car just by snapping a steering lock and then black boxing it, basically. Just barreling it, and then fucking... You've got yourself a bit of fun. You're only like 14, 15. You're not legally allowed to be on the roads. And then you're just joyriding all night long. You see the police. They're up for it. They're chasing you, and you just think everything's a big game. Like, I remember we got chased once from Raynham. I got nicked for this one. Dagenham, all through towards Ilford on Raynham Road. One road.
How far's that?
It's just a long road. It's probably about 2 miles, maybe longer.
Yeah.
2-3 miles, maybe more. I don't know. I'm not really good with miles, but every time we get away, they're behind us. We get away, and then another police car come from another side angle and be behind us, and we must have got away about 7-8 times, just going straight. And then in the end, he's pulled off on a back road, and we got nicked. And then like I said, I tried running off, and then they caught me and then nicked me and that. And then when I was 15.
Yep.
They had enough.
You can take seatbelt off.
Oh yeah, sorry mate.
No, it's all right.
It's a habit, yeah.
Yeah,
and
of course
then
it is.
And then they sent me away for 2 months from the magistrates court because they just had enough. And I went Warren Hill. And there was a police there's a cop in the holding cells, and he was all like having a laugh with the security court or whatever. He said, "You've been jailed before?" I went, "You what?" He said, "Yeah, you've been away." I went, "Nah." He went, "Well, there's a first time for everything." That's what he said. And then that stuck in my head to this day, like. And then I went away for a couple of months, Warren Hill, getting fed well, stodgy food, not like nowadays.
Was it a young offenders place, that?
Juvenile.
Just juvenile?
Juvie, yeah.
So up to 16?
15 to 18 it was.
Right, okay.
Got into the gym.
Fighting?
To be fair, I was there for 3 weeks in Warren Hill. They sent me to Feltham because they had enough of me just from 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. And just fucking
troublesome,
digging out people. Like one geezer, I took a disliking to him, so they put me on the anti-bullying, even though I probably was being a bit of a bully, to be fair. And then I chinned a couple of geezers, had a couple of altercations with the staff, and they just sent me to Feltham. But Warren Hill was a good old nick. They had a good gym.
Yep.
I was full stacking a leg press at 15, and all the gym screws lined up, and I was all watching it, couldn't believe it. And then yeah, I was enjoying the gym, got big and strong, went to Feltham, done about another 5 weeks there, got one nicking in there.
Yep.
And then got released, went straight back to East London. And
straight back into
it, mate, even worse, like just battle harder now, not giving a shit. And that's when I started looking at things from a different angle.
What angle was that?
I don't know, just something just switched in me. It was like not a different angle, that's the wrong word to use, but basically not thinking about, not caring no more, no.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was out for about, how long was that? I was out for 4 months, and I got nicked for, my mate started a fight with this Asian geezer on a train. He was a doctor. My mate, he was the one that I got nicked with and went to Warren Hill.
Okay.
For the Chorley Motors and that. And he had an hard time in there. Like, I'll tell you a story. When we went Warren Hill, the first day we was there, the next day after we'd arrived and all that, and I got my big sack on my back, and we're playing football, indoor football in the gym, and my mate Nathan, he's just taking liberties. He's taking people's legs out left, right, and centre.
Could he fight?
He could fight, yeah, but he's not the sharpest of lads, bless him.
Okay.
But he's a mixed race geezer, a big mixed race geezer, strong as fuck, stronger than me, like.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but he was.
Yeah.
And he started like basically taking liberties with this geezer who's called Devious, he was out of Brixton, I think.
Devious.
Yeah, that's what he used to call him. Yeah, but he was a tough old boy, man. And basically he's tried taking his legs out, and then Devious, he just rolled up to him, sat down, got up, gone bang bang 1-2, split Nathan's face open. He's pouring out with claret. Loads of blood, loads. I've seen loads of blood through the years and that. But he was absolutely pouring with it. And then these big, massive gym screws that must have been about 22 stone have just come out of nowhere, and they've just approached Devious. And he just put his hands up like that because he's experienced, you know. Yeah, he just knew what to do.
Surrender,
he was so relaxed about it.
Yeah.
And then they just grabbed him, walked him out. He probably went down the block or back to the wing. But the strange thing is, in Warren Hill and most prisons, the loser goes down the block. I don't know why it works like
Well,
that, but
yeah, the person who comes off worst, they usually move them.
yeah,
Move them off the wing,
Yeah.
put them on another wing.
yeah. So basically, like, Davis has been swagged off, and my mate Nathan's busted. So we've got out, and Nathan's a bit twisted from it, from his experience.
Wants revenge.
Yeah, on society, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he just started on this doctor, this Asian geezer, and just laid into him. Bang, 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 laid into him and that. And then the geezer's lost his like, it was like a bit like a smartphone, but this was years ago. This was like over 20 years ago. But we've got nicked because the police, what they call the BTP, British Transport Police, yeah.
Police, yeah.
And they proper investigate the fuckers.
Yeah.
So we've got off at Canning Town train station, and they've got us on camera. And then I'm in Forest Gate one day with a support worker.
What's Forest Gate?
Forest Gate is an area in East London.
Okay.
And I'm with a support worker. I was on something called an intensive supervision surveillance program. I don't even know if they do it anymore. It's for youngsters that are just too much.
Try to keep you on track.
Yeah.
How closely were you monitored?
Quite close. I had a timetable of everything I had to do.
Oh, did you?
I had to do a certain amount of hours of all different things a week. They needed to know where I was, everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm at where I was just so happened to be opposite Forest Gate Police Station. And as I'm standing on the corner with this woman, someone's come up to me from the police station, plain clothes, just looking at me. I thought, oh, I'm nicked. I didn't know what was going on. And he just so happened to be going around all the police stations with my photograph, trying to get me identified.
Really?
So it was just chance that I was in the
So
right
that was
place at the
old
wrong
school
time.
then?
Yeah, yeah. So he's grabbed me, he's cuffed me up. I've got a bit verbal with him, and he's digging the cuffs in just to let me know, like, behave yourself and that. And he's walked me to Forest Gate Police Station. I was booked for an ID parade, and I got basically I got picked out, and then they bailed me, and I got nicked for I can't even remember what for, to be fair. And they took me to I went to some police station in West London. I can't remember what it was called.
Yep.
And yeah, when they picked me out, they bailed me, and then I got picked up in the end for not, like, basically complying with my bail.
What did you get for that?
I got 18 months for that, to be fair. You're right, guys. And yeah, I got 18 months doing 9 DTO, detention and training order.
Okay.
First of all, I was in Feltham on remand. So I was about 16 at the time. No, 15. I was still 15, and just to basically think it'd be an easier ride, I told them I wasn't coping well, that I was self-harming and whatever, like biting myself, punching myself. And they said, right, we don't think that you're really fit for Feltham. But I was struggling in Feltham, so I was half in the right, you know what I mean?
What were you struggling with? He's got a bad reputation, Feltham, for being like quite a brutal regime.
Yeah, to be fair, it wasn't the violence that bothered me. It was the basically being like a number, you know?
Yeah.
Which can be a lot in prison. So getting moved about and all that, and then.
So people don't understand that it's the disruption, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you get in a cell, you get in with a pad mate,
you're
comfortable, and then somebody says, right, you move into A wing, or you move
exactly. Yeah, you can become. I'll come to that afterwards. I'll explain a bit of that to you. But basically, like, from the court, they sent me to Lincolnshire Secure Unit. I don't even understand what that is.
Is that a hospital?
Not a hospital, no. It was it's like a secure training centre, secure unit for people under the age of 15.
Is it like
16.
boot camp?
It's basically a small unit for people that are not really old enough or cut out for the YOIs.
Yeah.
And it's a mini little prison, basically. You're not locked up, you're out all day.
What were the population of that about?
Well, you'd have about between 5 and 8 like residents on a unit.
So
there's one called Medway. I went to Medway.
Okay.
Once I got sentenced. Medway was in the news a few years ago for basically abusing the young lads, like not sexually, but just basically brutalising them and beating them up, restraining them. But that is where I got strong physically when it came to the wrestling, because I was always just being an horrible little cunt, like refusing to fucking comply and whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd wrap me up, and I'd really put up a fight and all that, and then they'd get me in my room and then lock me in there and let me out. Like, it's not like prison. An hour later, half an hour later, let you back out, and you do the same thing again.
Yeah.
It's basically like a care home, but a
there's
secure one.
different rules and regs in there about, you know, sort of looking after.
Yeah, youngsters, yeah. But I didn't mind it. In the end, they had enough of me, and they basically got a taxi and they drove me to Warren Hill in Suffolk.
Took you back to prison.
Took me to a young offenders, basically, prison, yeah. And I'd done 10 months out of that 18 month because they never took the remand time off and that. I got out in about, I can't remember when I got out, but basically I went back to my nan's in Essex because she moved away from London at that point because London was a bit too, she just didn't like London no more.
Okay.
And I lived with her. The youth offending team work, I used to come and see him at the house. I never even had to go and see him. And basically, after a while, I gravitated back towards London, just the lifestyle and that as a youngster. Learned how to drive, was basically out thieving anything that wasn't nailed down. Any form of thieving I could do from a car, stealing cars, thieving off lorries, anything, vans, the whole lot.
Were you working on your own, working with other people?
A bit of both, to be fair. Like, I'd go out and I'd walk into like maybe a Woolworths or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd just walk in the back room like I worked there. And I'd just have a creep about. And I'd just nick car keys for cars, wallets, anything I could get my hands on. I was a proper thieving little son. So I was a proper little tea leaf, yeah. So that's what I'd do, things like that. Or if I see a car running with the keys in it, I'd jump in it and drive off. Yeah. All sorts. Like I've had chase. I've jumped into motors and been chased by the police. Just by chance that they happened to be there. Yeah. And managed to get away. If not, they would have beat the granny out of me. You know what they're like with things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the adrenaline.
Well, it used to be, didn't it? Yeah. Old school.
Yeah. But I used to get away in cars and motorbikes and mopeds. I used to get away a lot. I've only been nicked for taking chase twice, I think. I was quite a good little driver, but a dangerous one. But yeah, so that was my lifestyle basically for like 3 years. I had a few fights here and there, but I wasn't really into the violence. What it was, I'd get out and I'd go back to my thieving old ways. Then I'd get nicked. Then I'd go back to a young offenders. Yeah. And that's when I'd fight. I was violent in the institutional environment rather than the community. Okay. I'd do robberies in the street, but not loads. I was more of a thief. And I'd just basically fight the system all the way through. Like I used to get released from Warren Hill from the block. You know what I mean? They used to just walk me to the block and let me out, like, and they used to just go about your business. That's
solitary confinement. So do you spend a lot of time in solitary?
I have done it. I've done nearly 6 months in the SEG on the IP.
As a juvenile, were you ever on unlocked protocols?
No, because to be fair, when I was between the ages of 15 and 18, I'd get wrapped up.
Weren't you physically big then?
I was a big little lad, yeah, but I wasn't the biggest. You know what I mean? You're not prisoners, like you work.
Yeah, of course.
So you got absolute gorillas in there, haven't you?
Yeah, of course you have.
But I was a tough little fucker, like, you know, like they'd wrap me up, and I never once, only once, I think I let out a moan of pain, and that was more out of anger rather than pain. I used to just endure it. You know what I mean? And they've what was I saying? Yeah, so I do all my time. I go on a wing, get into a fight, go to the block, go on another wing, get into a fight, go to the block. And it'd go on and on and on. And then they'd release me and I'd go back to my old ways, nicking cars and thieving and whatever. And when I was 18, I was 18, I was driving my mate's girlfriend's car. And we've been stopped by the police.
Were you a popular lad?
I was, yeah. I'm well known in East London, yeah. Not the old of East London, but my part.
Yeah.
But
what was your heritage?
Italian.
Italian, okay.
But I'm more English than Italian.
Okay.
My granddad was half Italian on my mum's side, but the rest is English. But yeah. So basically, like, I was driving my mate's girlfriend's motor about, and police officers recognised me, spun round. I've just got out because I didn't want to take chase in his girlfriend's car. Woman's recognised me straight away. She's gone, "You on a ban, ain't you, Cole?" And I've gone, "Yeah." Like, she was shocked, and I was going to let them just nick me. And then she's messing about to get the cuffs out, and there was 2 of them, and I thought, fuck this, I'm having it on my toes. You know, like, it sunk in that I was getting nicked. Yeah. So I've just paced off. But what I've done is I've set such a crazy pace that it was a long old road, and I could hear her on her walkie-talkie, like, behind me. Yeah. And I'm way ahead of her, but I'm still pacing, and I've got to the end of the road, and I'm not joking. I put it all in. I couldn't run, I couldn't walk or nothing. So I took a turn in and I've jumped underneath a parked car and just laid there. And
Did they get you?
It took, yeah. It took about 10 minutes for her to catch up. I see her walk past me, and then she's walked back and she's all dejected looking. And then she's clocked me under the car, and I had no energy left. I couldn't run or nothing, mate. And they've dragged me out, took me to the station. I think I even let a few tears go, because I was fucked up, you know what I mean? I was going back to jail and that.
Yeah.
And then they sent me to Chelmsford the first time in adult, Nick, which is still way away.
What's it called, that?
Chelmsford in Essex.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Chelmsford, yeah. It's at HMP
Okay.
So I've arrived there. First time I've had a cellmate properly anyway.
18 to 21.
18 to 21.
Yeah.
On my wing. The rest was 21 to whatever. Like.
Yeah, adults.
So you had cons in there, adults, and you had young offenders. Done about 2 months in there. Became a bit unwell. This is when the mental health started kicking in.
Yeah.
Because before all of this, I go back to a little story. When I was on remand in Felt, about a year before that, maybe 8 months before that, they don't like moving young offenders under the age of 18 around on lockouts.
Yeah.
But what happened with me is I was going to one court that was in London.
Yeah.
And they'd take me to Feltham. Then a week later I'd have another court date in Essex. And then they'd take me to Warren Hill. So I was getting moved about, and it was summer as well, so you know it's like in summer.
Oh, yeah. Horrible.
Horrible being sat in a Peter all day long and then going on a sweat
What do you call him?
Peter.
What's Peter?
Cell.
Peter Cell.
Peter, yeah, Peter. That's what we call him, a Peter down in
Okay.
London, yeah. Yeah. And basically, they moved me about and my head was scrambled, and I'd done a couple of bad assaults in prison down to it, do you know what I mean? Because I was being moved about like a fucking parcel, mate. It just ruined me. And then I got out and my head, I started acting a bit strange, like, I mean, like, my friend, you know, like a delayed reaction. So all of the shit that I've been through was coming back on me in the community. And I was just like, fuck it, we had beef with like another gang. And I was like, no, let's just go there and fucking just do something naughty, you know what I mean? But everyone was looking at me like that, like his head's gone, you know what I mean? My head was gone, like.
Were they telling you that?
Yeah, I could just see it in their faces though, they was looking at me. Because I've always been a live wire anyway, but they was like, yeah, he's gone. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was up for anything, like, and my head was just smashed. And then I got nicked for the driving, and then it followed me on, and then I had the cellmate, and I caught a flu or whatever, and I started getting delusional, paranoid thoughts that the officers were spiking my food, that they had a program about AIDS on one of the channels in the prison. And I was watching it, and in my head, I've got AIDS. I've just polled some bird before I've come prison. And I'm thinking, fuck me, I've caught AIDS off of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and I'm really believing it. Like, fuck me, I'm on my way out, mate. I'm going to die. I was only 18. It's strange. It's sad to even think like that.
What do you think it was? Do you think it was like PTSD?
It's a new environment.
Or
a bit of both, yeah.
Or just...
Yeah, a bit of PTSD from all the years of going in and out of Feltham and Warren Hill.
Did you ever feel settled family-wise, or did you feel like a loner? You know, quite often people, they feel isolated, like they're on their own.
I was detached because I wasn't close to nobody. I didn't even pursue any relationships with women, like, other than short term.
Yeah.
But not a girlfriend. I was just like a solitary animal, basically.
Right, okay.
Detached from everyone. And that's what the system does to some people. And then I got out of Chelmsford and I walked right in the head. I was up for anything. You could have told me to do anything. My head was scrambled. And people took advantage of that. And within a space of 2 months, I'd robbed a betting office, basically held a cab driver against his will over the fare, and robbed a lad of about 15, 16 for a bracelet. All within 2 months. I was up for anything.
Yeah.
The geezer I was with on the robbery, he spotted him. He said, oh, do a right, do a left. And I wasn't even into street robbers at them points. You know what I mean? I wasn't even about that. But because I was so susceptible to people telling me things at that point, because of all the shit I'd been through, because I was like a zombie. I was like what the Jamaicans would call like a bookie. Like a zombie that's come back to life. Do you know what I mean? I was running empty. And then with the arm robbery on the betting office, the geezer's dead now that I done it with. He was 32, I was 18, I wasn't in the right place. He wanted the guy to snatch a cash box. I said to him, I'm not up for that, it's not my game.
Yeah.
He's got onto me again. He said, all right, the next day he's gone, I'm desperate for money.
Did he want you as muscle?
He wanted me just to help him because he didn't have the bottle to do it himself, I suppose. So next day he's gone, well, why don't we rob a bookies, a betting office? I still went up for it. I went into stupid things like that. He's managed to convince me, as I said, because I was so gone, to rob a betting office on my own. I've walked through an alleyway towards a betting office that I was going to rob.
Were you bellied up?
No, just a baseball cap down here.
Okay.
And I'm about to enter that place, which was silly because I was a shell of a man at that point, and a police van's pulled up, a transit, just as I'm about to walk in and rob the gaff, and I recognised the woman, and I knew that she's on point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking she's gonna spin round and I'm fucked. So I've walked straight past the betting office and walked into a block of flats. It was an imitation firearm. I'm like this, looking, just waiting for him to come back, thinking, oh fuck, my heart's racing and everything. Then I fucked off back to the car. I said to the geezer, I ain't doing no robberies, mate. I don't know what you're about. Like, I'm not about this. And he's basically gone, oh well, let's do it. Just come with me on another one. Like, I'm desperate for money. I'm in a bad way and all that. I was saying, I don't think it's worth it robbing a betting office. We're gonna get fuck all out of it. Do you know what I mean?
What, from court, probably.
Exactly. And I knew there was no bally, there was no planning, nothing. You know what I mean? No gloves, nothing like. And I just had a baseball cap that I pulled over my eyes like that. Eventually, he's played on my loyalty because I'm quite loyal to people. So once he's played on my loyalty at that point, and I'm only young, I knew I was getting nicked and I was fucked. But I was gone in the head anyway. I didn't give a shit. I was like a shell. We basically walked into the betting office. He's demanded cash. I've handed over a plastic bag. The money's gone in it. We only got a couple of £100. And then we fucked off. And then we flew to Beckton, which is in East London as well. And police were flying about everywhere. And we've seen old Bill, and I've had to physically drag the geezer away. He's a dimlo, like, I don't know. He was walking towards the police, and I've had to drag him away because I'm thinking, you know what I mean, old Bill it's on top straight away. In that 2 months, I'd robbed the betting office, robbed that lad for his bracelet, and done the false imprisonment. And at that point, there was a lot of grows going about with the Vietnamese. So I done a couple of them. No violence, just went in and kicked the door off. No one was in the house and nicked the weed.
Taking drugs.
Nicked the weed, yeah. Which is taken off now, innit? But back then it was a new thing.
Yeah, because
it was very new at that point. I got out to it. And within 2 months, I knew I was fucked. And I was driving about. I was like a fucking big geezer. Like, I was only 18. I was driving about East London, doing all the stuff I was doing and that. And like, I was just on borrowed time. I was like a mad dog on bail, you know what I mean? As someone described it to me before.
Who said that?
One of my mates, mate Tony Manton, yeah. And because I knew that I was on bail, literally and symbolically, and then in the end, I got nicked by the flying squad because they deal with robberies in London. Really? Yeah, I remember their names: DC Clark and DC Yemens. One of them was, and they're fucking. They was alright with me, to be fair, but in the interview I was going no comment, and he kept on going, "Have you got something to tell me that might come out 3, 6, 9 months down the line?" And he kept on saying 3, 6, 9 months, like he was letting it kick in. This is 3 years, 6 years, or 9 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you read between the lines in it. But I went no comment all the way. Got reminded in Chelmsford. Sat down, saw the committee in reception. One of them was very nice, polite to me, talking questions. He was like, "So what are you in for?" I was like, "No, I'm robbery. They had something wrong." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, answering me loads of questions, but I'd never had this before. Like, it's like he knew that I was fucked, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then he's gone, all right, they've took me to the wing, and I've said, I'm not doubling up with no one. I said it straight, like, you know what I mean? I walked on here anyway. Single celled me off and that. And then I was there for a couple of months. They got me a job in the kitchens, and I thought, this is all right. But I slept for about 2 months, just slept, abnormal sleep. I mean, all day and all night, sleeping non-stop, and I could sleep. Yeah. And then they got me a job in the kitchens, and I was working in there, making the sandwiches and all that, and that was all right. And then they've come to me one day and gone, "Yeah, you're going Glen Parva." And I look at it, we need the space here. So they'd moved me to Parva, which was the biggest YOI in Europe. And that's when I first met Midlands people, Northerners. I've met them in other jails down south.
How did it go down? Obviously, Manchester, Liverpool. Manx don't want to be in a Liverpool jail. Yeah. What was it like being a Cockney?
Like a foreigner. So I described prison before in a foreign jail. Like, well, I got on alright in there, but you had people from all through the Midlands, up north and down south. It was a mad old mix. Yeah. And they've put me in some clothes that are like just far too tight for me. You know, the usual shit, like just playing mind games with me because it was the young offenders. And it had the reputation was Glen Starver, they used to call it. Yeah. Because you don't get enough food in there. And it was a massive old jail. I realise with people in the Midlands and the North, when I'm in prison, you get like certain people that are just fucking big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they get along with the staff. You know, it's like they're like not screwboys, but it's like, come on, lad, move on. Like they'll try and
right. So screwboy in Screw's pockets. It's right what you're saying.
But these weren't screwboys though.
No, Strangeways, big lads, hardest lads. You know, some of them gangsters and stuff.
Yeah.
All cleaners, all on survey.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
All do easy jail.
Yeah. I know, and that's what I had to learn. But I didn't do any easy jail. But yeah, so like those big lads, and it'd be like, come on, and all that fresh fish on the wing and all that. But I'm accustomed to prison. I've been doing it for like 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I want you to, but I didn't get in any scraps up there.
No?
No, not one. I see people get weighed in the showers quite a lot.
Yeah.
Liberties, taking liberties, like just beating up idiots and it, like, you know. But I mean, I didn't have a fighter's head on at that point. I was shot. So I was just like one of them shells that you see in a prison, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of the Neeks or the Fraggles or whatever. I don't know how to call them up here.
Fraggle.
But I look like one. I wasn't, but I look like one because of all the shit I've been through.
Yeah.
And I was just recovering. My body was recovering. And then they've took me from Glen Parva, again, they've said, right, another move to Felton. And this is what I've done for 9 months, and this is what ruined me the most and done my head in. I've done 13 moves in 9 months on remand.
Wow.
I went from Chelmsford to Parva, Parva to Feltham, Feltham to Court, then to Norwich Prison, then to Elmley, then back to Feltham, then to Chelmsford, I think, and then back to Feltham at some point. And in that time, I'd crashed out quite a few adult prisoners. I got a bit of respect for it. So it started coming out of me again, you know, the antisocial ways and all, because of all the moves.
Yeah.
It just absolutely broke me. If they kept me in Chelmsford to begin with, working in the kitchens, it would have been a different sentence for me. So one day I'm in Feltham, I'm still on remand. They've come to me and I just hated Feltham. I wanted out of there. I've been doing it for about 6 years.
You're 18 now?
I was about 19.
Yeah.
And they've said, okay, Moroni, you're going to court today. I went, all right, result. I was like, yes, going back to Chelmsford. Because my nan lived in Chelmsford by coincidence.
Yeah.
They've drove me all the way from Middlesex to East London to Snaresbrook Crown Court. I've got there. They've gone, oh, Moroni, we made a mistake. I'm sorry. You're not in court today. You're going back to Feltham. So I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So I fought on my feet. I went, all right, let me get off the bus and go have a slash. So they've got me off the bus to have a slash, put me in an holding room. And then I'm in there for a bit. And then they've gone, come on, you're getting on a bus now. And I said, no, fuck off, you wanker. I'm not going on no bus. You know, like, straight away.
Yeah, was it just a normal sweatbox?
Yeah. And he's gone, what? I ain't getting back on that bus. I ain't going back to Feltham. And they've gone, all right, mate, not a problem. And they fucked off. Thought about it. And then they've come with, it was a reasonably big holding room. And they've come with all the jailers, you know, loads of them. You can't even, it just felt hot because there were so many bodies in that room.
Yeah.
And I was about 12 and a half stone. I was hitting the gym at that point. And I'm back against the wall because I'd always learned have you back to the wall because it's harder for them to wrap you up. You know?
Of course it is. And
then there was this Nigerian or African, I don't know if he was Nigerian, jailer, and he was in front of me. He's all smiling, like a cheeky little smile, and I was like, look, I ain't getting back on that bus. To cut the story short, basically they couldn't wrap me up straight away, and then I put up such a fight. They marked me up, and I was damaged goods, and I went purple. My lips went purple apparently, and I went white in the face. The end result was me getting dragged along the floor like a fish out of water, struggling for breath, in a bad way. They've shit themselves, picked me up, sat me down on the thing, took my cuffs off.
Yep.
Fucking.
So there was somebody there who was switched on.
Thankfully, yeah, because people die like that.
Yeah, of course they do.
And that's the worst thing you can ever do to someone that you weapon is make them suffocate. It is not nice. You get used to it in the end because you start fighting to get your breath, you know? Yeah. You're like, you start moving about to get in a position to get your breath back, you know?
Yeah, there is people who died. It is, you know, it's dangerous.
Yeah. So they got me up, sat me down. I was still switching. They've said, we're not taking him back on the van now. He's damaged. I felt I won't have him back. So they've had me in there all day. I think they was thinking about styling me up, apparently. I can't remember. But then they've said, okay, you're going Chelmsford. So I learned a lesson from that, you know? Yeah. That you've got to fight sometimes, haven't you? Because I wanted to be near my nan for visits and and be around adults, rather than being treated like a young offender. And I went Chelmsford, and then when I got to Chelmsford, They said you're going back to Fulton. I was like, oh no, what are you on about? Oh, come on, mate. What's that all about? Look, I've been alright with you and that. It's like sweet talking them or whatever. I said to the G4S, I don't know who it was back then. It was some security company, and he's gone. I tell you what, mate, I'll have a chat with him in there and see what I can do. And he spoke to him, and they've let me off the van.
Really?
But they was going to drive me all the way from Essex to Middlesex, yeah. Which would have been an absolute piss.
Were you known as troublesome then?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You see, in the system, like, if you come from Felton, technically from court, if there's space, you should go back there.
Yeah.
However, scrapping.
Yeah. But, I mean, I put my life on the line, didn't I, you know? But that's what you do when you're young and silly, didn't you? Because they could have easily suffocated me, and I'd have probably got away with it as well. Because I was only a little fucking nutter, wasn't I, at the end of the day. But I sat in Chelmsford, got sentenced, spoke to my barrister. His name was Dermot Keating, I think. A barrister, a pretty well-known one. And he's basically, like, giving me the heads up, like, you know, like, you're probably going to get an IPP. And I knew it was at the time, but I just didn't give a shit. I was like, yeah, whatever. I've gone up. The judges took all day thinking about it. He sentenced my Cody first. My Cody was older than me. He had a firearm. He was the one that held it, even though it was an imitation.
Yeah.
He got 4.5 years. And I got a 3.5 year IPP.
He got 4.5 years straight sentence.
Determinate straight sentence.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So he's like doing 2 years and he's on his toes.
But he was dead within a year of getting that.
Was he?
Yeah. So he would have been the one that... It would have been better for him to get the IPP because he had drug issues. So I've got sentenced. The judge took all day, basically just dragging it out. He had a smile on his face the whole time. Flying squad officers in the dock, not the dock, the gallery, looking over at me the whole time, just sat there like that, all like trying to look all prim and proper. And then he gave me the IPP basically because he said there was a knife involved, a gratuitous element because I wasn't a druggie or anything. My previous offending. But basically, he said he read a psychiatric assessment on me, and he said that there should be possible ongoing assessment and possible treatment for mental illness.
Okay.
So he ain't properly considered my mental state. You know, so I've gone
sending you to prison, even though he's recognising the fact that there might be some
and they never sent me to an hospital for a full assessment or anything. But I'm not complaining, even though you know, it should have happened. But I got sentenced, took down the cells, the stairs, the flying squad officer was just sat there. His facial expression didn't change. I just looked at him and I just fucked off down into the cells. There was another geezer there called Blacks from Hackney. I think that's what his name was, Black or Blacks. He was like, what happened? I went, yeah, I got an IPP and all that. Someone got a 5 for a Mac 10. And I thought, come on, I know my offences were serious, but how can someone get a
5-year determinate sentence for an automatic?
Yeah, sub-0-gram submachine gun.
Yeah.
And I got a 3.5 year IPP for offences with an imitation firearm.
And you can get 10-year firearm, can't you?
You can get, to be fair, I don't even know the full ins and outs of firearms. I know it's a minimum of a 5, I heard. That was years ago, but I've been around firearms, but I've never personally owned one or used one. But I've seen people with them, I've had them pulled out on me, or whatever, over the years. My mate's doing a 25 for a shooting. My other mate got shot dead. My other mate got deported and then shot dead.
Wow.
So I understand it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got sentenced. I was down in the holding room, sat there, and then took to Chelmsford, done my time there. I was always fighting. In the end, they called me Rocky. They used to call me Rocky in Chelmsford.
Did they?
Yeah, because I was always scrapping.
Were you fighting with other prisoners or fighting with screws as well?
I didn't actually chin any screws in Chelmsford, to be fair. I'd never assaulted a prison officer until I was about 20, and I've been in because in prison it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
You know what I mean? It's like, but when I was about 20, what was I saying? I was
Rocky.
Yeah, that's it, Rocky. Yeah. One time they said, Moroni, we need the space down here on the ones. You're going on the threes. And you're doubling up or whatever. But at this point I was sharing because I used to share when I wanted to share, and then when I didn't want to, I'd say no.
Just explain that. So single share, someone who's at high risk, could be a medical high risk, or who's particularly violent or racist or whatever, can be in a single cell. Yeah. But most of the time, it used to be doubled up, didn't you?
Yeah, you did, yeah. So I've moved up onto the threes, and they put me in a cell with this Lithuanian that was up for a murder. I can't remember his name. And they either took our TV or we didn't have one. And then I said, I'm not having this. Even though I didn't give a shit about TV, I was just a little bastard. Like, I just said, I'm not banging up, mate, until you get me a TV. And they said, well, we'll get you one in the morning or whatever. I was like, no, I'm not having it. I want a thing. So before you knew it, they was quick to press the bell on Chelmsford. They was quick to give you a beating as well.
Yeah.
Quick, like, fuck knows why. They must have thought those Essex boys watching too much Rise of the Foot Soldiers or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was all Essex boys in that, obviously the Screws, I mean. Maybe they wanted me to be on a level with them, but I wasn't, because I didn't really, you know what I mean?
We're completely anti-authority.
Yeah. So they pressed the bell, run at me, grabbed me, fucking one of them's near me, and that first time I'd been proper assaulted by a prison officer. I didn't take to that too well. But he basically, I was only a fucker anyway, so I don't care. I don't know grudges. It's water off a duck's back to me, you know. From my boxing days and my street fighting days, a punch in the face is a punch in the face, innit?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's no spilt milk over it. It don't mean nothing to me. So they walked me to the block, sat down there. I'm switching. I've chinned, like I've punched some metal thing, like just playing up, really, acting an idiot and that. And then they brought me back to the wing. The next day, after a nicking, I got like a caution or whatever. And then I basically...
Did you get a TV?
I did get a TV, yeah. Yeah, I did, yeah, thankfully. Yeah. And that's more or less the only time I'd had an altercation with him in Chelmsford. Apart from the day I left Chelmsford, I left there in a bang, should we say.
How long were you there?
I done about 7 months.
Yeah.
And then they said, basically, we're waiting for... Because back then, you had something called the life sentence plan. I don't know if you understand that.
Yeah.
That went, they got rid of that in the end. You just became like another prisoner.
Yeah.
So I had to go to a first stage life of prison, which was Aylesbury or Swinfernhall. But they said Aylesbury would be more suitable for me. And then they've basically swagged me to Aylesbury. And that's when it all started, you know. I started getting a different head on and that, like, I'm a prisoner now. I'm not on remand no more. Yeah. I've got to get on with this bird. Yeah. It's a pain in the arse. But I went to the Aylesbury in about January 2017. No, not 2017, 2007. Yep. Arrived there. Basically, I was quite mature in certain ways and then immature in other ways. And then the staff in Aylesbury they were speaking to me in a certain way that I didn't feel was suitable. You know, because I was young and I thought I knew it all and everything and that. Yep. And then basically I was just a little fucker in there. I ended up chinning some geezer and he chinned me back. Nearly broke my jaw, funny enough. One of the best punches I've been landing on. Yep. In the gym over an argument of who's staring at who and all that. His name's Roachy. He's basically like an MC. He's known in East London. He's from Bow as well, funny enough. Is he? Yeah, I think he's from Devon's Road or somewhere. But yeah, I chinned him and then I had a little show off and that, and then I got nicked for it. And then had that little multi-person fight on the yard, on the wing. Chinned a few people. And then they moved me wings. I moved a few wings and that. And then one day they said, I thought I was going swell side. I was saying, start me up, please. I just wanted to get started up, you know. I wanted to go swell side.
Tell what start up is.
Basically, when you're a young offender, you're uncategorised. So you ain't any category. So they've
they can give you a category and move you to adult prison, can't they?
Yeah.
If you're particularly violent. Yeah. You know, I think youngest I've seen was 16.
Yeah, I met 16-year-old, I met one, yeah.
Yeah, put in adult prison.
I met one in, where was it, Onley. He was involved in a riot in some prison in the Midlands or somewhere. Yeah. And he was only 16, a lad, but he was a good lad, fair play to him. But, yeah, so I thought I'd get styled up and go swell side. They've come to me one day. This woman's had a big smile on her face. Don't know if she fancied me or what. And then they've took me to the reception. And they didn't let me know until the last minute because they thought I'd refuse. You know,
listen. If you're a big lad or troublesome or you're going to be a problem, we're not going to tell you till you get there. Yeah. So I was in reception, cuffed up. Yeah. I've seen the Screws. I don't think they had the badges on them back then. You know, like SL or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So I've heard the accent, I think, or whatever. And the Screw that could rag me about was there, and I was like that, and I was looking at him and he was passing some funny comments, but it was alright, he wasn't being horrible or anything. Yeah. And then the Screw from Staffordshire, because I was going to Swinfernhall, by the way. Yeah. I found out I was going to Swinfernhall. He was like, so I take the cuffs off him, like as if to say we'll have it out like men, you know. Yeah. But the Screw didn't want any of it. Like, no. But he could leave them on. Yeah. So they left them on, and they took me and one other prisoner for every area of Jersey. It was on a minibus. First time I've been on a minibus from one prison to another. Double cuffed. I was cuffed to myself.
Then I was cuffed to the black geezer that I was going to Swinfernal with.
Yep.
And we done a long journey. I got Swinfernal. There's one thing I'll tell you about Swinfernal. I don't know if you know it. 60% are sex offenders.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's a nonce jail.
It is basically a set of Bacon's jail.
Yeah.
So I've got there. They've put money in.
Did you know that?
I did know it, but to be fair, I'm not on a witch hunt. I don't like Bacon's, but I want one of them prisoners that went out of my way hunting them down. You know.
Yeah.
I just
you kept separate. If they're not in your way, then they're not a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So they put me on the induction wing in Swinfernal. An IPP, I don't have a clue about courses or anything like that. I've read all the reports because I used to do Data Protection Act requests.
Oh, yeah.
I used to do them all the time. I used to like reading what they've said about me and all that. So I know like what they're saying about me and how they perceive me.
Did you have a big security file, do you reckon?
Well, let's put it this way. When they took me to Aylesbury from Chelmsford, there was bags and bags and bags of my paperwork. Yeah. Because back then it was all paperwork. Now it's all
yeah, it was.
It?
Yeah, so you see, the thing is, you know, people that know you were, they know you were coming, you know they were problematic.
Yeah.
And then it's how they deal with that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, some people take you at face value, right? Give you a chance, you're here now.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody else wants you.
Yeah.
And then the other way they do it is they don't have that chat, they just get you in and give you the rough stuff because they think that's going to work.
Yeah, yeah. So I've arrived at Swinfernal, they put me on the induction wing. The screws are all quiet with me, but they're not really out to get me, I don't think. But at the end times, I was pissed off because of the IPP, let's have it right. So, in Swinfernal, like Aylesbury, you had to tuck your t-shirt in, which was a mug off for an 18-year-old or 19.
Yeah.
So, I've come down to get my meal, and the woman said, you need to wear your jeans and your shirt to get your meal.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a normal prison tracksuit.
Okay.
So I've gone, alright, not a problem. Let me get my meal and then go up, and next time I come down, I will put the jeans and the shirt on. And she's gone, no, you will put your jeans on and your shirt on and then you'll get your meal. So I spat the dummy out the pram and I've just kicked off like, fuck you, who you talking to, you little whatever, like, going out, there's two older screws there, they must have been in their late 50s. They're like, well, what's wrong, mate, what's wrong and all that. I'm like, well, look, what's this mug off about? Why have I got to wear jeans and all that? So I've had an argument, I got nicked for threatening behaviour.
Yep.
Went on a nicking, went in front of a governor called Lofters, a mixed race or black governor. I'm having a chat with him. I'm saying what's going on and all that. We're having a bit of a one to and fro. He said, "Well, you will behave here," or something. He started giving me that cheesy fucking way they talk to young people.
Right. So that's going to work with some people.
Yeah.
You'd get away with that. However, big security file.
Yeah. So basically, I've said like he said, "You will behave here, or we'll deal with you." I went, "What do you mean by that?" He's gone, "We will deal with it." I've gone, "Will you?" He's gone, "Yeah." I've gone, "All right."
Is that a challenge now?
I've said, you know, you can't hurt me, mate. Like, I was a little nutter. I was like a little sadomasochist or something. Like, I was like, you can't hurt me and all that. There's nothing you can do. Rare. I've got up. He's walked me out the nicking room, and this is the first time I chinned a screw. Really, it's a bit of a sneaky move for me because I've chinned the screw from the side angle. Bang, bang, left, right. I didn't really do much damage. I was only about 12 stone. But I hesitated. I didn't hit him the way I'd hit a prisoner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there was that little bit of respect there. Like, but I've chinned him, he's spun round. He happened to be a CNI instructor. He's grabbed hold of me. The governor's in his chair like this, frozen, all crumpled up. He won't cocky no more. The other officers run over and tried restraining me. I'm giving him some little shots like that. He's going down, getting up. Then they've grabbed me. They've all everywhere. I'm just getting grabbed from hands everywhere. They've all come in. About I'll say about 9 of them.
Yeah.
They've all got hold of something. They're all leaning on me, but they're not trying to. They're calm. They're very relaxed. I'll give them that. They weren't trying to do the usual, just get him down or just get his arm. They've all leaned on me. Eventually got me down. Next minute I'm getting my head slammed off the floor like a fucking bang, bang, bang. Picked up, knee, crash, dropping, bing, bing, bing. I've got the other screw. He's using the wall and he's using both arms. I must have strong wrists or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was trying to break my wrist, you know. He wasn't trying to just wrap me up.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking whatever, you broke it now and all that. But I wasn't saying it like, you know, like, you broke it now, mate, because I knew I'd called it on. So they've picked me up, put me in a strip cell, stripped me down and that. They've put me in a funny position on my front, like my neck all like that.
Yep.
And they're all hesitating and they're all looking all paranoid and all worried and that, like. And in my mind, I might be wrong. I think they wanted to do me some serious harm here, mate. But for whatever reason they didn't. I said, go on and do it or whatever. They've all fucked off out the cell, spun out the way they do. Next day I've gone in front of another governor. I was alright with him. I had a good little chat with him. He knew people from East London, the old school and that.
Was he a different animal today?
Yeah, completely different animal, yeah, completely different. He was a northerner.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he might have been the Midlands because I didn't know the difference back then.
Okay.
He's basically said, I'll do a deal with you. I'll give you a 2-month suspended sentence of however long in the block, however losses of earnings, loss of TV and all that.
Yeah.
If you go back to the wing and you behave yourself.
Fair dues. I like that governor already, me.
Yeah. So I've gone back to the wing and I've said, there's one other deal. If we do a deal, I don't want to go back on induction wing. I want to go on the lifer unit. So they put me on the lifer unit. And
see, that's using your noggin.
Yeah.
Managing someone, brute violence ain't going to work.
No. And I tell you what I've learned is with a lot of people, as you might know, in the end, people just fucking fight back, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do. If you get a percentage. If you treat them like that, you're battling them all the time, right? Yeah. For me, I never took it personal.
Yeah.
They can make your job harder.
Yeah.
They're never going to win. However...
Yeah.
It just makes the job harder. It's troublesome, and it's a lot easier to sit and speak to someone and berate and give them a choice rather than.
But what it is, it's like imagine you jump in a plunge pool, in an ice bath, or whatever. At first you're like, oh fuck me, this is horrible. I don't want that no more. After a while you get used to the ice pool, and that's what it's like with violence. When someone's constantly having violence used against them, in the end, they become desensitised the same way you do to cold water.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I think they've learned that through not just 10 years, 100 years. They've realised, like, when you treat people in a certain way, in the end, they just don't care anymore.
If you treat people like animals,
exactly,
you're going to behave like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's true, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a cliche, that is it? That is what happens.
Yeah. So I've arrived on the lifer unit. They've took me into the office. There's a load of screws in there, all behind me.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's giving it to me and that, basically talking to me in a certain way. I didn't want to. I was still in that mind, like I thought, fuck that, I don't want to take any more punches to the head right now. So I was like, all right, whatever, mate. I had a chat with him. In the end, we got along. He was all right. Wasn't bad there, so.
Usually lifers wings, quite calm, quite settled, very clean.
Yeah.
Because everyone's in there for a long time.
Yeah. It was clean. It was a better environment. We had a tennis table.
Did you?
Yeah.
Respect the governor and also give it a go because he gave you a chance?
Yeah, I did, to be fair. Yeah. No, I did, yeah. So I got on there, made a few friends. I had a play. This is a bit of a liberty. I was playing table tennis with this lad, and two geezers were playing table tennis. I wanted to set a bit of a statement out, so I've said to the geezer that's playing the table tennis, I'm next or whatever. And I was half in the right anyway, and he's gone, yeah, whatever, let me finish this game or whatever. I said, no, I'm gonna get it. He's gone, all right, whatever. I've gone, what's your problem? Bang. Basically, I've drawn him out into a punch up.
Yep.
Said, come to my cell. He was a game lad. He come to my cell, and I basically hammered him. Like, in the end, he had his arms up like that. He was trying to fight back.
Yep.
He's on the bed like that, and I'm pounding on his arms, everything, like whatever I can hit. And I've busted him up quite bad. And then a week later, the screws give me a cleaning job on the wing. I'm not ashamed of that, but I was an horrible little bastard, as I said. But I didn't know any different, But they give me a cleaning job, to be fair. And then I was always fighting and inciting people to fight, and like little fucker really, getting people punching the ground. I got these two lads to have a fight. One was called Loz, and the other one was called Ings, and they were both big lads. One of them was a rugby player from Blackpool, I think.
Yep.
I've said, he's calling you out up there in the showers to Loz that's cleaning up, and he's gone, yeah, what? He was just on it. He was just susceptible sort, And then I've gone up and I've said to Ings, he wants it with you. And he's gone, yeah. And they've gone in, I've called it on for him in the showers. And they've started laying into each other. And I've never seen anything like it to this day. First of it was useless. A shit punch, slow, because they're both big lads. Bang, bang. Then it was like, he hits him, he hits him. He hits him, he hits him. And before you know it, they were hitting each other with thuds, you know what I mean? Like big, massive punches. And I was like, fuck me, I was shitting myself. Because I was about 12 stone, I was about 17, 18 stone. And they just absolutely battered the shit out of each other. There's blood everywhere and that. But back then, that was like entertainment, something new in the system and that. And then
What age are you about then?
about 20. Yeah, I was
So
about
you're
20.
2 years into your sentence?
2 years into my sentence, yeah, as an IPP. Someone said on the wing in Swinfernal, I'm just open mate before I'm 30. And I thought he was having a laugh, you know? Because I thought, nah, yeah, I didn't really think that far ahead at them times. But, yeah, I was fighting all the time, being a little shitbag and that. And then I've gone out and one day the screws have come and said, do you want to go and play football over the field, out on the sports field? I'm not really a big footballer, to be fair. I said, yeah, I don't mind, I'll give it a go. I'm out on the football field and I'm playing in defence, but I'm running all around the pitch. I ain't got a Scooby-Doo at this stage. My thinking skills weren't as great as they are now. I'm going in, I'm attacking, I'm midfielding, I'm defending, I'm doing it all. I'm running around like a nutter. But really I should just be in defence.
Yeah.
And this Scouser, I can't remember his name, he said, lad, don't do this or whatever. Stay in defence, lad, or whatever, in an ignorant way. I went, what? He went, don't fuck about, like, just stay in defence or whatever. I had an argument with him. And I've chinned him. He tried fighting back, but it wasn't really all that. And then his mates got involved, some Brummy, a black geezer. He's held me like that. I've spun round and I've hit him. So I've hit the Scouser, nothing's happened. I've hit the black geezer from Birmingham.
Yep.
It's in Birmingham, it's more or less Birmingham, Staffordshire. All of his mates have come and I've took a lynch beating off about 10 lads.
I was going to say, yeah, you're up against it if you're in there.
Yeah. So I'm getting pounded from everywhere, but I was just beating. After a while, anyone knows when you're taking a beating, it starts to hurt after a while. Even if they're not big bombs. Bang, 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 bang. I'm thinking, fuck this, what's going on here? I've come up out of nowhere and I think I've sparked one of them and it's knocked the fight out of him. There's one left hitting me. One left, like, you know, like after all that. And then you always get some little fucker, don't you, that wants to beat you that little bit more. But this black geezer from Brixton, I think his name was Silence or something, I can't remember that. He's basically grabbed hold of me and pulled me out of the scrum. The screws have come running over. They're like, fuck it, like, you just took a beating. I was busted up a bit and that. I was like, yeah, is that all you got, you cunts or whatever? Took me healthcare, took me back to the wing. And that humbled me a bit, you know? Because I do believe in karma. Karma does work. Karma's a bitch. You can't beat karma.
You got what you deserve.
You can't beat karma. I got what I deserved. And it taught me a lesson, you know?
Yeah.
Same as the way the screws have beat me over the years. Like, I've learnt lessons from it, you know? You can't be an absolute horrible cunt and get away with it all the time. So, I've gone back to the wing. Staying on the wing, mixing and that. And it nearly started it got a bit political. Like, all the Londoners that I know wanted to make something of it. I said, no, don't worry about it. Just let it go. It is what it is, innit? And then, I'm training people on the wing. We had a fitness room, which was quite innovative at that time. It was a fitness room. You had a cross trainer, a stepper, a mat for doing sit-ups on, a sit-up mat. And I was holding the sit-up mat, getting people to hold it, showing off, punching it at big shots and all that. And then I've trained one geezer up. I can't remember, his name was Sace. He was a bit of a slow lad, he was alright. But I'm teaching him how to throw digs and all that. I trained him so hard, I'm not proud of this, that we've gone in the shower afterwards and he's passed out in the showers, the geezer, pissed himself and everything. Like, I was like, fuck me, I've helped him up, what's happening, lad? And all that, I felt sorry for him. And then the screws had come, what's wrong? I said, he's just fucking passed out and that. And then, yeah, that's just one story, like, you know. So it's quite interesting, all this interesting thing was going on, but I thought I was helping him.
What we're going to do, we're going to hold it right there, because this camera will be about to run out.
Okay.
Just so people know, 6 years now, no violence. 8 months out. You're living in, what do you call it?
Supported housing.
Supported housing.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about that, and then we'll wind this one up and we'll do a part 2.
Okay. All right, sweet, yeah.
So the supported housing.
Yeah.
Come because you got sectioned.
Yeah.
And you're in a hospital.
Yeah.
So it's come the mental health route.
Yeah.
If you'd have come straight from prison, it's a different game, innit?
Definitely, for sure, 1,000,000%.
You'd probably have struggled a lot more, would you not?
Yeah, definitely, I would have struggled, without that, man. But I was just, all these little interesting things that happened over the years, like, when you're in there, they didn't have me in education, they didn't, you know, like, I wasn't getting loads of gym, so you learn how to, like, you know, stimulate yourself, didn't you, know?
I guess you have to. I've always said, prison, you know, people say it's not hard enough or whatever, prison is boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
Whichever side of the door you are,
it's
boring. You very rarely get a conversation. And
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Is that a good place to leave it?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Alright.
Jobs are good, and mate.
Yeah.
Carl, we'll be back soon.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Not a problem, bro.
I'll see you.